a gift or two. One of them is this: they have the power to make a wish come true. When I was a little girl, I always knew I wanted to be a performer. There was never a choice in the matter. This is my story of following that star. Anything your heart desires will come to you. If your heart is in your dream, no request is too extreme. When you wish upon a star, as dreamers do. My first acting role was in the kindergarten nativity play following the Northern Star. I was the Madonna, and I remember taking my role very seriously, looking after baby Jesus and all. Like a bolt out of the blue, fate steps in and sees you through. When you wish upon a star, your dreams come. When I was 6 years old, a few of my dreams did come true. Well, firstly, I went to Disneyland, which was magical, and Universal Studios and Hollywood. Oh, it was the absolute best. Mum and Dad spoilt us. I even got to meet Minnie Mouse. After LA, we went to New York and then Italy to visit my nonnas. 3 months abroad, what an experience. When we were in LA, I remember in Hollywood telling myself that I was going to come back and be in the movies. And then I told all the kids at school that I was Drew Barrymore in E.T. The enchantment of Hollywood had already been cast. No one on earth could feel like this. I'm thrown and overflowing with bliss. There must be an angel playing with my heart. I walk into an empty room and suddenly my heart goes boom. It's an orchestra of angels and they're playing with my heart, yeah. Well, I've always adored music. I was dancing before I could walk. My first singing gig was at a calisthenics concert in the Port Adelaide Town Hall. I'm picking up a baby bumblebee. Won't my mummy be surprised with me? And what a buzz I got out of that. Every Saturday morning in the 80s was spent riding my bike with a little basket down to the local deli where I would buy music magazines, smash hits, and mix lollies with my pocket money. I would come home and I'd watch video hits and I'd learn all the choreography and all the lyrics to all of the latest songs. The lounge and sometimes the garage was my stage, where perhaps a passerby could hear me and discover me. I was obsessed with Madonna. I was even banned from Madonna. And I always wanted to be in a music video clip. Only when I'm dancing that I feel this free. At night, I lock the door when no one else can see. I'm tired of dancing here all by myself. Tonight, I wanna dance with someone else. And I always wanted to be an actor. I used to play this game. First person to get tears in their eyes and cry is the winner. Now that's a popular kids game, right? This is me pretending to be in a US skincare commercial.
Well, I don't know about that, but it's clean, and that's important. That has special nutrients in it. It makes it clean.
as a young lady, it was expected that I get a job, get married and have children. But at the time, that's not what my heart wished for. I wanted to go to university and study acting and travel the globe, which I did. Boom, another few wishes come true. Thank you, Star. If I were only meant to tend the nest, then why does my imagination sail across the mountains and the seas beyond the make-believe of any fairy tale? Why have the thirst, if not to drink the wine? And what a waste to have a taste of things that can't be mine. I cast many wishes a very long time ago. However, not all of my wishes have come true as expected. In late '96, I found out I got into the acting school I wanted, but then one morning I woke up and I could barely move my body. It was so heavy and I felt like I always had to lay down and sleep. Somehow I dragged myself to university exams, but I slept right through them. I was bedridden for 3 months, and by the time acting school came around, I was feeling a lot better. I had gone doctor to doctor, and chronic fatigue was their best guess. The fatigue continued, and so too did these random spasms in the left side of my body. Nobody could explain those. So, a few hospital visits and a lot of energy drinks later, I managed to get through the performances which followed. Hold on, nothing's gonna stop me. I've got a reason to try. Oh, hold on, Wonderland is calling. I've got to learn how to fly. After the completion of 5 years of university life, I had another life-changing morning when I woke up and I could barely feel my feet. They were stinging and buzzing, and it kind of felt like pins and needles, but worse. Well, it did reduce in severity, but my legs and feet have never been the same since. On a positive note, while I was at acting school, I discovered I could sing, and I graduated with an honours degree. But in my heart of secrets, I still felt LA calling me. So you're probably wondering about this unusual set for a show like this. Well, I have to sit a lot. The longer I stand or move my legs, the more those intense sensations become, and it hurts. So I have to be comfortable. Maybe I'm not what you expected. Oh my gosh, this is so much better. Oh. High heels will be defunct at some point. Everybody comes to Hollywood. They want to make it in the neighborhood. They like the smell of it in Hollywood. Why would it hurt you when it looks so good? Everything was happening for me as I graduated from uni. I won 2 scholarships, one in acting and one in singing, and both took me to Sydney and led to my first solo cabaret performance. I got a Sydney agent and more. I also was very lucky to work with the Adelaide Symphony Orchestra several times, and with people like Rhonda Birchmore, Rachel Beck, Tony Sheldon, Nancy Hayes. There's something in the air in Hollywood. The sun is shining like you knew it would. There's something in the air in Hollywood. You got the top down and it feels so good. Another fateful day, I'm walking down the street when all of a sudden, out of nowhere, I get these electrical pulses through my hands. An unusual burning-like sensation, similar to those in my legs and my feet. It's called paresthesia. Well, this experience took me back to the neurologist, where we found out I did in fact have multiple sclerosis, better known as MS. I was told that within 5 years I'd be in a wheelchair. Well, the statistics were really bad back then. That same day, I had to drive to an audition for McLeod's Daughters. I didn't get the role. After my newfound discovery, I didn't waste any time in getting myself to Sydney. to start a new life in 2002. I figured Sydney was going to be my first stop. I wasn't quite ready for Hollywood just yet. And although I was unwell, I pushed on while I still had time. And then when I was living in Sydney, I auditioned for McLeod's Daughters again, and I did get the role. Yeah, another dream come true, working on that. Time marches on, never ending. Time beats its own time. Here we stand at the beginning, and then goes passing us by. And I can dream for us all. I hope I'm in a better place when here and now crumbles and falls, and you make worlds collide. I knew you'd come knocking one day, unannounced like a thief in the night. Well, everybody has their lot in life, don't they? So don't feel sorry for me. I wouldn't be as tenacious or adventurous, or I've lived such an exhilarating life if it hadn't been for MS. It really taught me to stop and smell the roses. Life has never been boring. Did you know that in Dubai, a person with a disability is called a person of determination? Well, that is exactly what I am. So if you need a hero, just look in the mirror. No one's gonna save you now, so you better save yourself. And everybody's hurting, everybody's going through it, so you just can't give up now, 'cause you gotta save yourself. The sun will come out, nothing good ever comes easy. I know times are rough, but winners don't quit, so don't you give up. The sun will come out, but we've been struggling endless days. Someday we'll find love, 'cause after the storms, when the flowers bloom. I ended up going to live in London and on a couple of cruise liners. I visited South Pacific and Greek islands. I went to Egypt, Germany, Denmark, Holland, France, Spain, and a few other places. And I still had wishes waiting to come true. So when I was living in Italy at some point, I instigated a 10-year plan to get myself to LA. Ready or not, here I come, you can't hide. I'm gonna find you and take it slowly. Ready or not, here I come, you can't hide. I'm gonna find you and make you want me. I did crazy fun things, like jumping into the UK's North Sea in the middle of winter. I was fearless. But then on Christmas Boxing Day, I was at London's Waterloo Station and I collapsed. I could no longer walk. I could no longer even feel my legs, and my hands were on fire. I spent the next 3.5 weeks in hospital with the best view of Big Ben and the London Eye. But I had to learn to walk again, and every bit of improvement spurred me on to get well enough for a cabaret show tour of London and Brighton that I'd been booked for. I visualised the performance in hospital, and I made it to rehearsals. When showtime came around, I still wasn't very well, but I managed well enough for people not to even notice. I was folding up my walking stick and hiding it before tentatively entering the theatre and looking for that seat. I was a better actress than anybody realised. I'm here, I'm yours, the broad Broadway adores, 'cause I can sing. The day after the last performance, I was on a flight back home to Australia to continue rehabilitation. I worked really, really hard, and after a year, I was without my walking stick again, and I started to perform again around Adelaide. Fast forward another year, and my legs failed to coordinate themselves again, so I was back into serious intensive rehab because again I had to go on tour very soon for a show called Muriel Matters. I had to stand up on a chair and sing, and I did, without falling off. I'm unstoppable, I'm a Porsche with no brakes, I'm invincible, and now in every single day, I'm so powerful, don't need batteries to play, I'm so confident, yeah, I'm unstoppable today, unstoppable today, unstoppable today, unstoppable today, I'm unstoppable today. So were you thinking there were aliens or science fiction in this show? I'm the alien. The foreigner in a new land. The alien of extraordinary ability. No, I'm not being up myself. That was the name of the visa that allowed me to live and work in the United States of America. But first, I had to check out the scene to see if I could make my dream a reality. So in 2015, I flew over. California, my way, any day. Ooh. Gonna hit the highway right away. Ooh. I've got my bags packed and I'm well on my way. I should be there in the run of the day. Yes, I do. I really, really want to go there. 'Cause they say till you've been there, you haven't been nowhere. Well, it took only 2 weeks to decide that I wanted to live in California. So I found an immigration lawyer. The weather alone had sold me. I was so physically active those 3 months and very fortunate to find an agency who wanted to sponsor me. So when I came back to Australia, I started the arduous application for the working visa. I heard it was a difficult visa to get, but I was going to try. What the heck? All that you see is me, and all I truly believe that I was born to try. I've learned to love, be understanding, and believe in life. But you gotta make choices. Be wrong or right. Sometimes you gotta sacrifice the things you like. But I was born to try. One criteria for the working visa was to have all major US film, television, and performance unions accept me as a valuable member of the entertainment industry. And I'm so glad they did. But by the time the visa came through, which took about a year, I was bedbound again. I did everything possible to get on that plane. I wasn't afraid of going to America. I was afraid of not trying, of not living my life. I've always been a bit of a risk taker. Even as a child, check out this trendsetter. You've got to be brave to sport that. You know, I felt like I'd already made it before I even got there, with that working visa in my hand, and I was able to walk onto yet another aeroplane. To have the chance to fulfill a childhood dream was so satisfying. To work in any capacity was going to be a thrill. Just walking down the street over there, I felt like I was in a movie, with big red fire hydrants, newspaper kiosks, and everyone in West Hollywood was ultra attractive. travelling and living independently with a relatively cooperative body was contentment for me. I had so many random experiences. Shine your light now. This time it's got to be good. Get it right now, yeah. 'Cause you're in Hollywood. I got to work as an actor and a singer, not in any blockbuster movie. The big studios didn't accept the alien visa. However, I was in an award-winning indie feature film playing a music executive, and I had small roles in a few other movies. I featured in 4 television shows as a cop, a lawyer, a professor, and 1 lead for 1 episode of a courtroom drama. I was in 2 pilots. One was such a juicy role, but it never turned out to be a television series, which was quite common in Hollywood. I featured in 3 music videos. I was in a couple of cabaret shows. I was a backing vocalist for a pop singer. I was in an improvised show, and I played God in a Pink Floyd physical theatre piece. And I was a judge for Miss Teen California. To live and die in LA, it's the place to be. You've got to be there to know it, what everybody wanna see. Within the first 2 weeks, I was acutely made aware of how dangerous it was in a big city. There were helicopters overhead, and the police were yelling on megaphones to stay indoors and stay away from the windows. There was a murderer out on the loose with a gun. But I had first date that night, so I had to wait for the helicopters to get further away because I was going to leave the house. To live and die in LA, it's the place to be. You've got to be there to know it, what everybody wants to see. In the first several months, I had Mulla, so I stayed in WeHo, that's short for West Hollywood. See, I picked up on the lingo pretty quickly. WeHo was populated with Aussies and the LGBTQI plus community. I stayed with a couple of really young kids. One was an ex-Home and Away star, and one was a Miami model who kept saying, "What's up?" And Seth Rogen, he lived across the road. I then went to Hawaii, and when I came back, after a few months, I was broke. So a laundry became my next place to call home. A little room in a laundry. It was in the Latin Quarter, and it was such a lively community with Mexican music blaring out of homes and at the supermarket. Well, I was rained out of the laundry room, and this is when my pet sitting business took off. I would stay in multi-million-dollar homes in prime real estate, looking after pets whose owners had gone on vacation. I loved my life. I've always loved animals, even when they want to eat me. There was this one Labrador puppy called God, and he took me for a walk and a run in the rain. Oh, it was so freeing to be able to run again. To live and die in LA, it's the place to be. You've got to be there to know it, what everybody wants to see. I became so fit and strong, but I did take a risk working at a Halloween event where I was in these extreme fight scenes and I had to get killed by a sledgehammer. And there was one night when the sledgehammer hit my fingers and I lay in the dirt looking up at the stars, still grateful to be in La La Land. Talk about suffering for your art. To live and die in LA, it's the place to be. You've got to be there to know it, what everybody wants to see. Well, I yo-yoed all around Los Angeles, and when I wasn't pet sitting, I was staying in an Aussie friend's kitchen or another Aussie friend's spare room, but mostly I was staying in a hostel. So many different characters passing through with all sorts of stories. I became good friends with an intriguing Greek-English comedian who did nude poetry and stand up with Barbie dolls. Yeah, she and I went to Vegas together. What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. Oh, there were so many eccentric artists that came from all over the world to this LA, this mecca of entertainment. I met a lot of different people, and they were people who were willing to take a risk, desperate to succeed. I worked with them and I befriended them. I had Australia at the end of the day, but a lot of people I met had no backup plan. Homelessness was a very real possibility. Hold on, Wonderland is calling. You know it's calling your name. Oh, hold on, anything can happen. You've got to be in the game. All the days are all so blue, a quirky postcard attraction, a land of lies and make-believe. A woman here with her candor, illusion of grandeur. I like the simple things. Hold on, you know I've got a reason for being wild and free. Oh, hold on, Wonderland is calling. There's more than you cannot see. Music has always been a close companion. I used to go out during the week a lot to clubs, music venues. The performers were always of such a high calibre, so many Grammy Award winners. Well, dancing was the best thing for my MS. It was my exercise and my escape. I felt like every dance could be the last dance of my life. Music, like magic, can get me up out of bed. Music has always been my therapy, and singing and dancing my medicine. I find dancing easier to do than standing or walking. It uses different nerve pathways to and from the brain that don't repeat. Music never lets you down. Puts a smile on your face anytime, any place. Dancing helps relieve the pain, soothe your mind, makes you happy again. Listen to those dancing beats, close your eyes and let go. No, it don't mean a thing if it ain't got that swing. But you are, but you are, but you are, but you are. I became VIP in Hollywood with Connie, Queen of the Night. She got us into any club at any time. Underground parties, speakeasies. She was clubbing royalty of yesteryear with tales of hanging out with Jagger and Iggy Pop. We fluttered from club to club, and at the end of the night ended up with a Mexican hot dog with avocado and pico de gallo sauce. Connie was my mum's age and had a couple of disabilities to contend with herself, so we fluttered at the same pace. We never felt old in La La Land. There was always a mix of age groups. Hollywood, we're going Hollywood tonight. We're going Hollywood. We're going Hollywood tonight. We're going Hollywood. We're going Hollywood tonight. It's true that you may never ever have a chance again. That chance again, baby. Connie would take me to a mansion in the Hollywood Hills where all these musicians would all jam together. I think they were Scientologists. This is me improvising there one night. Me, yeah. I'm here with the Connie and Tori and friends. Here we are to play to the end. Oh, I wanna be free, 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 free. And there's a sound, I thought it was Duncan. He's hot. Oh my God, I just said it out. Please, please, oh, I love myself. I love this laugh. I love the universe. I love life. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh I would go to the beach a fair bit. Once I was with my boys, Hassan and Brian, and we were walking at the Venice Beach boardwalk, and I overheard an Italian film crew, so I started speaking with them. They told me they were making a documentary about young women travelling the world and following their dreams. So they interviewed me. About a year later, coincidentally, my friend in Italy happened to catch the show on television. Well, I spotted celebrities, of course. I was mixing with the likes of Pamela Anderson and Martin Scorsese. I also got to meet more celebrities when I was working as a clacker. Not cloaca, clacker. It's the canned laughter that you hear in sitcoms and dramas. Woohoo! Yeah! Except clapping hurts, so I faked it. Another place that was swarming with B-grade celebrities was my acting class. There was a Spanish movie star, and Caroline from Bold and the Beautiful. After class, we would hit Sunset Boulevard, also known as the Sunset Strip. On the boulevard, think what to where to be seen. On the boulevard, if you dare, if you dream. Latin ladies selling roses, muscle boys and powdered noses. It's where legends have origins. On the boulevard is where our night begins. I became good friends with Vogue model Luxia, and we started writing together. We were in a short film together. We did hair modelling together. Her partner just happened to be one of my favourite childhood actors, Anthony Michael Hall. Well, he was an 80s teen icon. Well, there was one night we all went clubbing, VIP style, on the Strip. Outside, the winter sky turning grey, city up in smoke, it's only ash when it rains. Howl at the moon and go to sleep in the day. Look for everybody till the drugs fade away. In the morning, blacken up the sun with a shade. She's got to check her pulse and tell herself that she's okay. Seems like dying young is an honor, but who'll be at my funeral, I wonder. Well, after dancing hard, we went to a traditional diner on the strip. And Michael parked his Porsche, opened the doors, put up the music, and we all danced in the car park. Well, it wasn't long before the paparazzi arrived, and there were flashes and selfies being taken everywhere, even with me. I also got to spend a wonderful traditional Thanksgiving in their wonderful Malibu Hills mansion. I've never been in so many grand houses. There we go. There was a guy at the hostel, and he was in town to sue Warner Brothers for stealing his movie idea. Well, one day we went to an industry after party, and we both met a pilot. Imundi was his name. Imundi was the son of an Italian movie mogul, legit, and we had a brilliant time with him and his friend, who happened to be a big director in the 80s and had a couple of Academy Awards. Well, the next day, Imundi wined and dined us at this famous Italian restaurant on the Strip. And it was here that he told us that he could fly us to Italy to be in a Hollywood blockbuster. And his friend were to direct it. Well, I could smell the BS. He then went on to say that he could get us a US green card. And when he asked for our passports, I pretty much disappeared. But the British guy went on this crazy, unpleasant ride with him. As it turns out, Imundi was only trying to find someone to score cocaine for him. I'm not sure the British guy ever got his passport back. Sunset Boulevard, twisting boulevard, secretive and rich, a little scary. Sunset Boulevard, tempting boulevard, waiting there to swallow the unwary. I couldn't do things like well people, so I would give myself a break and just do what I could when I could. If I was in bed for weeks, then I would just rehearse in my head, then get out there and do my best. In downtown Los Angeles, I was in a couple of cabaret shows that introduced Eurovision to American audiences. you would know me at all today. From the fading light I fly, rise like a phoenix, out of the ashes seeking rather than vengeance. Retribution you were warned, once I'm transformed, once I'm reborn. You know I will rise like a phoenix, but you're my flame. Another gig was singing at the famous Pasadena Bowl, and it was the US national anthem for the MS Society charity fundraiser. Yeah, that was fun. You know, I've had so many wishes fulfilled. Walking again, not having my speech slur, having less spasms and standing longer. And in LA, I found a medication that really helped with these things and reduced my pain. I've really understood the power of meditation and visualization. When I was in London those years ago, I was visualising running and jumping at the beach. I made that a reality in LA. My time there was also a stepping stone to exploring my creative identity. I discovered my alter ego, Teresa D, and I wrote a song with friends MC and radio personality Ecor the Wolf and multi-platinum music producer X-Man. This is what we got up to.
Yeah, Teresa D, I'm glad I met you, mommy. Glad you touched down in LA. You ready to elevate? Gonna hit that. Gonna get stoned, mama.
A wee bit of trouble in Australia, but so much drama in Los Angeles. I am Liz and the scandalous. I've been around the world, I can handle this. Sydney, London, Rome, Mediterranean, a lush living gypsy on the seven seas. Choosing from thugs to kings, but don't trip 'cause I'm a bloody tease. Beaches, palm trees and silver screen. 6'4" drop tops, LAPD. My favourite time here is 4:20. And tall dark chocolate that makes me free. Girl with this Aussie style, I came to the West, how you like me now? Big girl with this Aussie style, I came to the West, how you like me now? Big girl with this Aussie style, I came to the West, how you like me now? Big girl with this Aussie style, I came to the West, how you like me now? Got stoned with my boy Ecor. Beat drop makes the Aussie eat more. Street drop, LA City street wars. Witnessing the bullshit elite fast forward. This Aussie wants more. Like Kobe, Teresa D scores. What you think I came here for? X dropped the beat when I came through the door. Beaches, palm trees and silver screen. 6'4" drop tops, LAPD. My favourite time here is 4:20. And tall dark chocolate that makes me free.
Thank you. I can't believe I was lugging 2 suitcases around, riding bikes, and yeah, even jumping. I was in this jingle for a podcast.
Downtown Los Angeles, downtown Los Angeles, downtown Los Angeles.
Near the end of my stay, I was mainly living in a lavish loft in downtown Los Angeles with a jacuzzi on the roof that I was in almost every night. I was on Spring Street, the place to be on a Saturday night with legendary clubs. It was also a street that often closed for movie productions. I was also a block away from Skid Row, an area of 5 blocks squared, packed with the homeless. I cried the first time I saw these people just living on the sidewalk, mainly in tents. Such unbelievable poverty and neglect. I saw so many people with disabilities, and I saw seniors sitting on the curb, looking as if they were patiently waiting to die. Underground, walking through the underground, so lost or found is yours, lost or found underground. All that glitters is not gold, the downtown story's yet to be told. Living out my dreams, yeah. City lights, yeah, yeah. I'm feeling alive, I'm feeling sweet. Stench in the air, piss at my feet. All is crumbling all around. The devil's here, he's come to town. See the land of promise now, see the sick line in this town, see the little children frown. Sleeping on that concrete floor, my life amounts to something more. I was hiding in a box, thought I knew it was new, could grab and catch the fox. Gotta walk straight, gotta find my feet, gotta practice what I preach, gotta learn a new game. Soon I'll be where people are clean, not me depletion of their dream. I mean, it seems like a dimension of sorts. New cohorts to please and tease day by day, to stay alive, to live, to grieve, to get relief from the demons in my head. Wish that black dog's dead. I don't really wish black dog is dead. Metaphorical. I was living very close to MacArthur Park is melting in the dark, that thick green icing flowing down. I had one line in a movie that's shot in this park, and it's also where my Mexican friend was robbed while she was trying to obtain an illegal identity card there so she could work. You know, LA felt like a dangerous place, but I strangely felt at home. Even earthquakes could happen at any moment. All houses had provisions. There was one house I was opening the cupboard up to the dog food, and there was a huge gun, and the bullets were in the pantry. Statistically, 100 people died per day by firearm in the US. That is so hard to fathom. It really is the Wild West with cowboys. While living in downtown, I started working at a kitten rescue shelter, and I was in survival mode. I was busy doing night shift, and I felt like I was getting sick. I was sleeping 16 hours straight. I had brain fog. I was a bit unbalanced and confused, and my pain was really extreme. Not only was time running out with my visa, but time was running out with my health. It happened that I was having a relapse without knowing it. That would later be found out in an MRI scan. Don't break me down, I've been traveling too long, I've been trying too hard, with one pretty song. I hear the birds on the summer breeze, I fly fast, I am alone tonight. I'm trying hard not to get into trouble, I've got a war in my mind. I just ride, I just ride, I just ride, just ride. I'm tired of feeling like I'm going crazy. I'm tired of trying to look these stars in my eyes. I look up and hear myself say, baby, too much has tried. I just I was in LA when Trump was elected, and we all know how that turned out. Overall, my time in Hollywood was very validating for me professionally. I was getting booked and I was getting lots of callbacks. when I was well enough to put myself out there. And I knew a lot of friends in LA, so I had a really great support network. I learned so much over there, and I had an absolute blast. As a kid, I used to dream, had that little dream, dreaming of the place where I could simply just be me. Dreams were full of song and dance, characters to play. I had a plan to life expand, simply fly away. Accolades came, so did pain. I had to push through. Suddenly the dreams I had actually came true. I was an alien in LA, waiting for the day, the luck to come my way, the way the stories say. I was an alien in LA, I did it my way, regrets, no way, I was an alien in LA. When I came back to Australia, I was hanging on by a thread, and it didn't take long before I fell in a heap. My pain was off the Richter scale. I couldn't walk properly anymore, sitting in a chair was taxing, and my hands were so weak that to hold a glass took 2 hands. Well, to add insult to injury, I had 3 melanomas removed from my body. I hit a wall, I never felt so low, like a waterfall. My tears dropped to the floor, they left a swimming pool of salted crimes. Oh, what could I do to change your mind? Nothing. I'm racing for the pain and I am letting go. I'm using all my strength to get out of this hole. I hit a wall. I thought that I would hurt myself. Oh, I was sure you would leave me unconfessed. And then I thought I'd be lying cold, lifeless. Oh, I hit a wall. I hit a wall. What's the goal? For 3 winters I looked out into my beautiful garden and thought of warm Californian times. And whilst I miss Cali, I feel quite safe here in Adelaide. It was really quite confronting watching the riots down streets I knew well in WeHo. Well, so basically for the last 3 years I've been relearning how to walk again, and now I can walk 14 minutes straight. I haven't used my walking stick since last May. I can mostly drive, and I can sometimes cook for myself. My mind's sharper, I'm back teaching, and I've almost finished this show. I have a renewed sense of purpose. I feel like I'm back, baby. Let me introduce you to something. This is my new friend. I only take it to go shopping, but I embrace it wholeheartedly because it's going to make my life so much easier and more comfortable. I hid my MS for so long. I went to great extents to hide it at the expense of my integrity. I hated lying. I felt ashamed and like I was a real loser in the game of life. But I now know that I've got nothing to be ashamed of, and I'm actually a winner for coming this far. Coming out of this disability closet has been scary, yet liberating. To just accept myself as me and share that. Never knew me coming out. Now I just have to live. Now I wanna give. I'm completely positive. I know this time around I ain't gonna do it like you never knew it. Oh, I'll make it through. The time has come for me to break out of the shell. I have to shout that I am coming out. I'm coming out. I want the world to know that to let me show. Yeah, I'm coming out. Woo! I want the world to know that to let me show. When I was encouraged to write this show, I thought, what good is sitting alone on your ass? Come join the cabaret. Oh, and I can't begin to tell you how much I've been supported. I'm so grateful to everyone. This is my life. I'm an entertainer. This is what I do. I sing songs, I tell stories, and I'm starting to write my own music like I've done in this show. I really cherish my dreams, and I've still got a bucket load full of them. I never thought 20 years ago I'd still be standing. Hold on, nothing's gonna stop me. I've got a reason to leave. Oh, hold on, it won't take forever when the light's under my feet. Maybe I'm not what you expected, but I'm not what I expected either.